Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Mike the Engineer, and this is Kerbal Space Program. So today, we are going to be making a selection of launch vehicles. So similar to real life, launch companies will make a certain rocket for a certain payload to orbit. And then whenever someone comes with a payload they want to launch, they have their mission specifications, and they have an assortment of vehicles that they can select from. So that is exactly what we're going to be doing today. So first, we're going to be starting off with something relatively easy. We're going to be putting a 5-ton mass into low Kerbin orbit. So to do that, I start off with a small fuel tank that weighs approximately 5 tons, and I start building out my rocket from there. Our second stage, as I previously have used, is going to be a hydrogen upper stage because of the low mass requirements of the fuel and the high ISP of the vacuum optimized engine. So what we're doing now is we're just making a fairing, a decoupler fairing to make it look nice, and now we're making our first stage look pretty. So for this, I believe I used a skipper engine that is made smaller due to the restock mod, and we are using a four of the Thumper rocket motors just to give us an additional boost off the launch pad. Not 2, but 4 of them for additional thrust. While it probably isn't necessary, I mean, come on, look at it. It looks nice. So we're just going to make sure our staging is correct. Just making it look a little bit prettier. And we can test this by taking this 5-ton orbit up into low Kerbin orbit. Yes. But first we need a probe car, we need some batteries, and we need the probe core that I just left on there. So we're going to call this 5-ton LKO. And we're going to test this, save it just so we can test it. And we are going to launch from here. So we leap off the launch pad, we start tilting immediately to about 10-15 degrees, so we start picking up velocity. We have a very high thrust to weight ratio, which probably isn't optimal, but it's fine, it works. We dish those side solid rocket boosters, and we head up into orbit. We are at 30 kilometers at 1500 meters per second, and we are at about 15 degrees. I probably would have gone a little bit less harsh on that. Probably would have, or less shallow on that, probably 20 degrees, 25 degrees, somewhere around there. But it's fine, it's not a problem at all. I totally forgot about YouTube's compression, so I'm going to try and avoid doing night launches. I'm sorry, guys. Let me know if that's an issue. I know other people complain about it. I do have the ambient light boost up decently high, like 15-20%, so I can see stuff and you can see stuff, hopefully. Leave a comment down below if that is satisfactory. But we got it, we got into orbit, so now I'm going to double our payload mass. First of all, I'm going to skip to morning though, because I forgot to do that last time. But like I said, we're going to be taking up not 1 fuel tank, but 2 fuel tanks for 10 tons to orbit. And now 10 tons is a special number. Okay, not really, it's just 10 tons. There's nothing really special about it, but like, if you have a 5-ton vehicle, like a 5-ton probe or something, then it's going to be able to put it into a higher orbit relatively easily. So we are just going to, first of all, get rid of that rocket, grab another fuel tank so we can make it 10 tons, and then I believe we're just going to go back and get the same rocket and modify it, because I realized we don't have 2.5 meter payload fairings. I was going to make it 2.5 meters, but we don't have that, so we can't do that. We're going to ditch the solid rocket motors, and we're going to grab the main tank, and yes, we are going to be doing a Falcon Heavy style triple core booster rocket. Yes. That is... I just had to step away and I had stopped the recording there for a second. But like I was saying, we are making a triple core Falcon Heavy-esque vehicle with some extra fuel tanks on top. And we are going, and I am decreasing the thrust limiter in that middle core so we can have that burn for a little bit longer. I am eventually going to add the fuel lines to it, but it will fly in this configuration. But it is more optimal to use the fuel lines to bring the fuel from the side tanks into the main tank, so we end with a full core when those side boosters detach. We're just adjusting our thrust there, just so it can last a little bit longer. Pretty aggressive gravity turn again. Max thrust on the center core. And like I said, I would have gone a little bit shallower, but side boosters away, we are making the re-entry particle effect, even though we are not re-entering, but we are leaving at approximately 2.5 kilometers per second, and that's where you start to see those entry effects. But now we are above 60 kilometers, that has all gone away. We have ignited our upper stage, and we are burning to orbit. So unlike in stock Kerbal Space Program, you are going to need more time to perform your circularization burn. Because the planet is bigger, you need more orbital velocity, but we did make orbit, so that is that set. And we are just going to save that as a subassembly 10-ton LKO 1.875 meter, because I believe that's what this is. It's kind of like the Soyuz-ish middle part between 1.25 meter and 2.5 meter from the Making History expansion pack, from the expansion DLC. Quite useful for like early middle game KSP. But yes, I'm currently looking for a 2.5 meter. We don't have it. So what does that mean? We are going to have to get more science, and the easiest way of doing that is going to the MUN. Because right now it is locked behind a relatively high science research. What was it? I believe it was a 250 science. I don't remember exactly. It was special construction for 160 science. So we need at least that much more. In order to get it. But first, I don't really feel like sending any crew, so we are just going to make some relays. So in order to make a relay, I will be grabbing the biggest probe core I have, some fuel tanks, a fuel tank adapter to just make it look a little bit smaller, the biggest relay antenna I have, which is, I believe, the 80 strength one, the 80 million strength one, batteries, solar panels, high quality ones for, not Copernicus, Kerbalism, 3 engines, but 4 engines for redundancy, so we can have pairs of 2, so we can have centered thrust in the event one goes out, because if you only have 3, then you wouldn't be able to center it properly. You would have offset thrust, and no one likes offset thrust. It's a pain in the butt to deal with. But we'll grab our 10-ton LKO. I don't believe it's 10 tons, I believe it was like 5 or 6, but like I said, it will allow us to get up into a higher orbit because we don't have as much mass on board. So I'm just going to be launching this 3 times, and we can do a triple launch. Yes. So let's throw in some music, and I will see you very soon. And here we are, just about to head into orbit. And this is going to be the final orbit of these relays. It's very similar to the other relays I did, just more powerful relays in a higher orbit, so we can reach more of the Kerbin system. So next time, you guys, we are going to be doing a probe to the moon, getting some more science, and we're going to be able to make a 2.5 meter series of rocket launchers, of launch vehicles, that is. But that's all I have for you today. If you liked it, make sure to hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm. If you loved it, make sure to subscribe, and I will see you next time. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.